Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. This session on study your undergraduate degree and planning your career. For this session, I have a guest speaker, Shannon Beto from Houston Baptist University. She will be conducting the second half of this session. Just as a manner of introduction, your mic and your camera will be off. If you have any questions, you can send them to Alejandro Garcia Q&A. My peer Alejandro, he will be in charge of managing all the questions. And I would like to thank my peer also Luisa Maria from Education USA Puebla, and my peer Jenny Diaz from Education USA Mérida, and Alejandro Garcia from Education USA Hermosillo. Next, please. Thank you. And as I said, this session will be for those students that would like to pursue a higher education with an undergraduate degree, searching for an undergraduate program. And yeah, this is an overview of 3 steps out of the 5 steps that Education USA has as a guide to study your undergraduate degree in the States. Next, please. Yeah, let's first talk about Education USA and who we are and what we do. Well, Education USA is a network of advising centers. We are the State of Department of the United States promote our work. So all the work we do is advise students that would like to pursue higher education. And as I said, this session is aimed for those students that would like to pursue undergraduate degrees. On Thursday, next Thursdays, in 2 days, we will have this kind of same session for graduate students. All the services and all the work we do for students are free, so we don't charge anything. And our target audience are students, institutions in the States and local institutions. In this case, as you can see, we have Shannon Beto from Houston Baptist University. And also, in my case, I am based in Oaxaca. I kind of forgot to say that. But yeah, I am based in Oaxaca and I cover Guerrero and Veracruz. So yeah, so we also partner with local institutions in order to get more attention from local students and local counselors. Next, please. Okay, and here are some frequent asked questions that we always get. Do we offer scholarships? No, we don't offer scholarships. And in a way, yeah, the only scholarship that we offer, it's called Education USA Opportunity Funds. But this is kind of a special scholarship. Why? Because this scholarship won't cover tuition, nor housing, nor other expenses related when you are actually currently studying in the States. This scholarship will help you to submit an application for institutions in the States. And this scholarship is available for graduate and undergraduate students. Do we offer English courses? No, we do not offer English courses. Why? Because first of all, we are not an institution. We are a program, but we can help you to find institutions and schools that will help you to learn and practice your English. Do we have agreements with US institutions? No, as I said, we are not an institution. And usually these agreements work when 2 institutions sign an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, or an agreement. So with this, we do not have an institution figure. But yeah, so we do not have agreements. In a way, we can work with several institutions in the States. I don't want to say the number of institutions we work with, because that's a part of the interactive activity I have prepared for you. So yeah, so I won't bore my answer. So yeah, so we can work with several institutions in the States. And finally, do we offer support for an academic exchange? No, we don't. Why? Because again, we are not an institution, and usually the academic exchanges happen when 2 institutions have signed an agreement. And some institution here in Mexico might send students to another institution in the United States, or maybe Latin America or Europe. Okay, but this again works when 2 institutions have an agreement. So yeah, so these are almost all the frequent asked questions that we always get. Next, please. Okay, so for this is the interactive activity I mentioned it. So please, if you can go to menti.com, and this is the code you're gonna write, and I will share my my slide, I guess. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then, okay, you answer this question, please. How many universities you think are in the United States? Remember, go to menti.com and then put the code 79775786, and all your answers will be appearing here. So don't be afraid. There are not wrong answers. As I said, I didn't want to expose myself when I talk about the work we do with universities. So come on, don't be shy, and just share your answers. And okay, we have 700, 500, 10,000. That's a lot. Okay, keep them coming. Okay, between 400 and 700, 500, 150. Okay, 3,500. Okay, that's a good number, I think. Don't you think, Shannon? Okay. Okay, and I have another question prepared for you. Oh, let me see. Okay, here it is. And what do you think you need to study in the States? Again, we don't have wrong answers here. Money, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, learn about the process. Courage, okay. Wow, good grades. Good SAT scores, okay, yeah. Good average, okay, yeah. Intelligence, okay, well, yeah, that'll help, I guess, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave this for 15 more seconds. Motivation, okay, that's good. Well, we want to motivate you today, so yeah. Extracurricular activities, okay, that's great. Yeah, okay, again, great answers. Thank you very much for your participation. Luisa, I don't know if we can come back to the presentation, please. Oh, I should stop share, I guess. Yeah. Okay, and as I said, uh, there are no wrong answers. So next, please. The first step that we're gonna talk about are options. Research your options. And yeah, several of you wrote on the activity how many universities you think are in the United States. And Education USA works with more than 4,700 accredited higher education institutions in the United States. With this, we want to communicate that there are several options for you to start planning your academic degree in the States. How do you do this? Well, you have to define your priorities. Find a university that best fits your needs, best fits you, best fits your profile, and everything will work for you. Don't just go for the name of that specific university you heard on a movie, you heard through a, I don't know, through an uncle, through a peer, through someone else. Okay, you have to do your own research, and we Education USA, we want to help you to do this research accurately and currently as well. And again, be sure that the institutions are accredited. What does it mean? Okay, it doesn't mean that, okay, you want to study in the States in a fake university. It doesn't mean that. It means that the credits you get in a university will be valid here in Mexico. Why? Because maybe the fact that the credits study in one specific university will only be valid for that specific state where the university is located. So with this, you have to be aware of the universities that the credits you get in that specific university will be valid not only in that specific states, but all across the states, across the United States, and also here in Mexico. Next, please. Okay, there are mainly two kind of institutions in the state: community colleges and universities. You may have listened about community colleges, and yes, they are a good option. Why? Because in a way, they are affordable, they are cheaper, yes, and you don't compromise your education. Why? Because here, through community colleges, you can transfer, you can study, you can get 2 years at a community college, and then transfer to a university. Now, the universities are larger institutions, and they go from private and public institutions. They offer more programs, they offer more options for you as well as an international student, and in a way they offer diversity. Okay, so again, it's a good option to consider start in a community college and then jump into a university. Again, why? Because you may have some other options, and in a way you can save more money in the long term. Okay, remember, if you have questions, please address them to Alejandro Garcia Q&A. Alejandro will be in charge of conducting, of having and gathering all the questions. And also for the folks listening or watching us through Facebook, please send your questions to the chat box, and these questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, we as Education USA will be offering you accurate, comprehensive, and current information, and also authorized online searchers. Why? Because if you Google, I want to study my undergraduate degree in the States, you'll have a lot of results in less than, I don't know, 2 seconds, right? That's what Google does. And yes, in a way, all the results will be helpful in a way, but we want you to avoid all the struggles and all that. Why? Because we have all the online searchers that we use as Education USA advisors. Okay, and with this, we want you to compromise as well. Why? Because we suggest to take notes on a notebook or an online document. Why? Because if you see just an online page from a university, you may forget. Okay, so that it is important for you to take notes and to have a record of the universities you have searched online, and then start a list with your specific options. Okay, again, define your priorities. Why do you want to study that specific program at that specific university? Okay, remember, don't go after a name, go after a program that will suit your needs. Okay, and again, hide all the relevant information from each school. Why? Because one school may be important because they have some relevant aspects for you, but maybe another school will be more relevant because of location. We don't know. And maybe a third option will be more attractive to you because they have a specific club that you want to join. So remember, this search will be a comprehensive search, and at the end, we will suggest our best advice will be this clear suggestion about your specific program, and for through our optic and through our perspective, what will be for you. But at the end, you will take that you will take that decision. Okay, and lastly, we'll cover all the information and all the needs that you need to consider. Next, please. Well, you mentioned money. Yes, you need money to start planning your education in the United States. Okay, next, please. What we suggest is to do a financial planning. Okay, start your financial planning as soon as possible. talk with your parents, talk with your family, talk with your sponsor, talk with that specific people that will help you. If you have saved some money, well, that's great. If you could save money through, I don't know, a summer job, or I don't know, something else, well, that's a good incentive to start, right? But always look for ways to reduce expenses. Why? Because yes, study in the United States might be expensive, but there are ways to reduce cost. Okay, and Shannon will be talking about this a little bit later as well. And yeah, I mean, this is part of the planning that you have to do, not only financial planning, but it goes along with the looking for options and research your options, right? Might be, this is the case, an example and a scenario, right? You have three options of universities, okay, but one of the three options, it is more expensive, although it has your top program. And maybe your third option still has that specific program that you would like to pursue, but might be a cheaper option. Well, you have to define your priorities, okay? And remember, we Education USA, we want to help you to consider the best options, but at the end, you will be in charge of taking that decision, okay? Again, when you are submitting your application, several universities might suggest you to submit an application for financial aid as well. So not only consider the fact of submitting an online application with your documents, with your letters of recommendation, which I will be talking about these letters a little bit later, but also consider to apply to for financial aid. Okay, some universities might suggest you, some other universities it is a joint application. I know some of these universities might consider your online application, and also through this online application will consider you for financial aid. Okay, but just be aware of each requirement of each university. Next, please. Okay, so this is an example of what you might to what you might to consider uh, for the application cost. These prices are in US dollars. So this is just an example for you to get an idea of how much you will have to invest in this. Not spend, invest. Remember, education is an investment. So yeah, so this is something that you have to consider as an investment. Application fees, this can go from $35 up to $100 or more. Okay, and because you are not only going to submit an application for only one university, let's say you want to submit an application for 5 universities, well, you have to consider each application fee for each university. Documents, if you have to pay an extra money for get your documents out of your high school or even out of your junior high school, okay, you have to consider that. Translations, universities will ask all your documents in English. Here in Mexico, you'll have your certificado de preparatoria in Spanish. Well, you have to translate that, okay? Shipping, some other universities will ask you to send the physical copies, hard copies of these documents. So yeah, so that costs money as well. If you have to present a TOEFL IBT or an IELTS, which as well we are going to talk about this test later on. So yeah, so this is something that you have to consider as well. Someone wrote about SAT records, SAT tests. Well, again, these tests, they cost money. Well, you have to consider them. And submission of extra score, where this happens when you get, let's say you get an SAT or an ACT. If a university asks you to submit this score, well, SAT has this feature where they can send your records to the universities, but this is only in a period of time of, I think, 14 or 16 days after you took the test. After this time, you're gonna have to pay for each time you want them to send your records to the universities. And again, if you need preparation courses, well, that'll cost money as well. Next, please. Okay, and this is an example of 3 universities, 3 institutions, and as you can see, we have Harvard, we have Arizona, and we have San Antonio Community College. So this cost may vary through program, may vary through from time to time, but this is just an example for you to be aware of how much it costs roughly to study in Harvard and how much it costs to study at University of Arizona and how much it costs to study at San Antonio Community College. So through this, we want to communicate that yes, there are options and there are several options. As I mentioned it, there are more than 4,000 universities, hence options. So yeah, so you just have to be aware, you have to do your research and you have to start planning ahead, okay? Next, please. And financial aid. For Mexicans, the only source of financial aid may come from the institutions you would like to submit an application. Now, as I mentioned, Education USA has this scholarship called Education USA Opportunity Funds, but this scholarship won't cover tuition nor housing. So yeah, it's a scholarship that will help you to submit to cover all the expenses uh, for you to submit your application to the universities. So with this, you may have to aim for the universities you would like to submit your application to totally fund you, to totally support you financially. Again, this is not the only way you can support yourself. Why? Because as I said, if your family have already saved up some money, well, you can use that money towards your education. If you have a sponsor, let's say you have an uncle, you have, I don't know, an auntie, or whomever would like to help you, well, this is a great opportunity for you to show this. Dual citizenship for Mexican and American. Well, you have FAFSA, and there might be another financial options in the States for you. Why? Because we have, why do we cover this point? Because here in Mexico, we know and we are aware of several students that have dual citizenship. So for this, remember guys, you have some other options, okay? And other nationalities, yes, because here in Mexico, we are aware that several students also from other countries might study their high school here and then jump from Mexico to the United States. Again, remember to take into consideration the opportunities you have in your own home country. Next, please. Okay, this is the third step out of the 5 steps, out of the Education USA 5 steps guide. Okay, next, please. And this is the complete your application with the requirements. What universities may require from you? Community colleges, as I spoke before, here are two kind of institutions: community colleges and universities. And mainly, universities will ask you for all of this: online application fee, transcripts, standardized test, letters of recommendation, essays, and portfolio in the case you are studying an art program or architecture program, on just or just the requirements that the university you would like to submit your application will require from you. Okay. Online application, there are several options for online applications, and we are going to review this on the next slide. Okay, yeah, application and application fees. So there are several universities that make the students' lives a little bit easier. Why? This is because I'm kind of familiar with Common App. Common App is an application that will centralize all your applications and send them to several universities at the same time. So this will save you a lot of time, a lot of effort. Why? Because you have to put all the information only in one online tool, and it'll do the work for you. I mean, sending all the applications, right? And then we have coalition application and apply Texas. Although several universities won't use any of these resources, so you will have to submit your own application to that specific university. But remember, this goes from university to university. And again, as I said, application fees. This goes the application fees. They go from university to an university. You can get waivers but that'll depend again on each university. Yeah, as I said, you can request application fee waivers, but again, this will be under the restrictions of each university. Next slide, please. Okay, English test. You may be familiar with several of these options: IELTS, TOEFL, IBT, or Duolingo. These are the three main options or the three main tests that universities will accept as part of the requirements uh, uh, for application. And again, we have just general information about this, the cost for each test, and as well as the web pages for each test. Okay, and an exemption, as you can see at the bottom of the slide. Some institution may accept some grades on the verbal section for the SAT or ACT as proof of language. So this means that you don't have to take another English test. Okay, as long as, again, this will depend on each university. So be aware of that. Don't get confused if you see this presentation and say to the university, say to the university, well, I saw on an Education USA presentation that, yeah, if I have an SAT, I will be exempt to do an English test. Well, that might work for only one university of your consideration. So yeah, so just be aware of that. Next, please. Okay, yeah, thank you, Shannon. There is also an online version of the TOEFL called TOEFL Essentials that many universities are beginning to accept. It's brand new. Yeah, I think that happened also with the Duolingo like 3 years ago, kind of, right? So yeah, so yeah, more or less. This is another option for you, but again, be aware of the requirements of each institution. Okay. As you mentioned, well, someone wrote as well, have the SAT results, like great grades on the SAT. Well, yeah, again, this will depend on each institution. Before the pandemic, several institutions started to not asking for the standardized test. Okay, then the pandemic struck, and well, this in a way help international students. Why? Because we didn't have any testing centers to go to, so universities just decided to not ask for the ACTs or ACTs. So this was something good, I guess, for international students, for Mexican students. But again, if I think Shannon will be talking about a little bit more of this. But yeah, do we recommend to take an SAT? Well, if you are sure that you're gonna get a great score, then take it. Okay. But if you just want to do it, if you just want to take the SAT because, why not? Well, my own recommendation will be, okay, if you are not prepared for this test, and if the school is not requiring you to take the test, well, maybe focus more on on improving your English level, or maybe improving your extracurricular activities or something else. Okay, but again, this will go from university to university. And your transcripts, what are your transcripts? All the documentation that you can get from your previous academic courses. Okay, in many cases you'll be asked to provide your boleta of boleta de tercero de secundaria, which is your third grade junior high grading paper. Okay, and also your high school diploma. Okay, again, don't worry about converting your Mexican GPA onto the American system GPA. Sometimes we tend to use tools through Google or through other channels, and they can mess up all the numbers. So don't worry about that. Unless the university requires you to do it, do it. Other than that, you can present your grades in the Mexican system. Okay, if it goes out of 0 to 10 or 0 to 100. Okay, again, school documentation must be in English, so you will have to translate, and for that we can help you find authorized translators. So yeah, so just look for us in this matter and in any other again. So yeah, thank you, Luisa. Letters of recommendation. You will need some letters of recommendation, mainly from professors, and if you have strong extracurricular activities, maybe a tutor or a coach or an extracurricular coordinator, well, maybe that can be a good option as a letter of recommendation. Okay. Me personally, if a school is requiring you uh, 3 letters of recommendation, well, I will recommend you to get 4 letters of recommendation. Why? Because letters of recommendation, I think is the only document that you cannot control on time. So because you may depend on other people to hand you a letter of recommendation. So yeah, and you don't know, maybe the professor you are asking a letter of recommendation, he got sick and he will be not able to provide you a letter of recommendation. Well, you have a backup. Okay. So just be aware of that. And these are sent directly from the recommenders to the institution. And essays, well, we have several resources on essays. Education USA Mexico and Education USA, well, the whole network have a lot of resources to help you to start your essay. And again, Education USA advisors will help you with revisions and will help you with suggestions. And this is the only document where you can present yourself, not only as with the academic profile. Why? Because universities will see your academic profile through your transcripts, and will see you through the optic of other professors, through the letters of recommendations. But through the essays, it's you speaking directly to the universities. Okay. And yes, there are several guidelines, again, depending from institution to an institution. So yeah, so be aware of the requirements also on the essays that the institutions will require from you. Okay. Next, please. And this is a calendar that we suggest to use and to use as a guide. Next, please. So yeah, so this is, if you want to take a screenshot out of this, well, this session will be on our YouTube channel, and also will be on Facebook. But yeah, if you wanna take a screenshot out of this to have it closer to you, well, do it. This is kind of the calendar that we suggest you for when starting your application process. Okay. And as you can see, it starts on the spring, which right now you have a lot of time to start preparing for submitting your application to the universities. Okay. And this is kind of the flow it takes when submitting your application. Okay. So as you can see, it goes from spring to fall, which means we suggest you to prepare 12 to 18 months in advance when you want to when you start planning your education in the States. Okay. So yeah, so these are the steps through the seasons. Okay. Springs, search for programs and school. Summer, prepare for tests and start your essay. Fall, have ready your application. Winter, send your application. Well, and you can see the other 3 seasons, right? Again, if you have any questions on this, you can look for us. For those people that just are connecting, I am Jorge Reyes. I am the Education USA advisor for Oaxaca, Guerrero, and Veracruz. And our network here in Mexico is quite large. So yeah, so at the end of the presentation, you will have the contact information. And I think this is my last slide. And with this, I would like to introduce Shannon Bedo. Shannon is from Houston Baptist University. She's the Director of International and Veteran Student Services. And I will talk about a little bit more of her. At Houston Baptist University, she leads efforts for recruiting admissions, immigration, and programming for the international and veteran student population. She has previously served at Baylor College of Medicine and Texas A&M University, as well as in the private sector. She has a Master's of Agricultural Education and a Bachelor's of Agricultural Development from Texas A&M University, where she also studied abroad in both Vietnam and Tunisia. Shannon is an active member of NAFSA and the Trainer Corps, currently serving as the Dean of F1 Beyond the Basics e-learning course, and was on the chair stream of the Houston Forum from 2018 to 2020. She is also the chair-elect of Study Texas, serving on the board since 2018. Shannon was named NAFSA's 2020 Advocate of the Year and is actively involved in educating congressional representatives and their staff on issues important to international education. She currently serves on NAFSA Region 3 leadership team as the advocacy representative. So it is my great honor to have Shannon here with us. So Shannon, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Jorge, for having me here today. I am so excited to be able to talk to all of y'all. In Texas, we do say y'all a lot. I'm sure that a lot of you have been to Texas at some point. And so you're probably used to us and a Southern way of talking. We say things like howdy and y'all. So thank you for having me here today. I would love to talk to you about your future of studying in the United States. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how to pick a major, because I think that that's a really important decision. A lot of students think that it has to be like the final decision that they ever make in their entire life. And nobody knows what they want to do with the rest of their life when they're 17 years old. And so just realize that in the United States, you can change your major, which is an amazing thing. So think about when you're picking your major, like, what do you enjoy doing? What are your strengths? And also, how are you going to be able to find a job after graduation? That's really important for international students. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the US academic system. And so a major is the program that you want to complete. So for example, like you're coming to get a bachelor's of science in electrical engineering, or a bachelor's of art in education, something like that. So that's a very specific program that you're wanting to complete. And you will get something called a progress towards degree, and it will say exactly the classes that you have to take over a time period. And it's in the US, we measure the amount of classes and course credit in something called hours. And so that means that each course that you take is roughly worth 3 hours, 3 credits. So we call it hours because you spend 3 hours in the classroom per week. And so you're getting 3 hours of credit. So you're really getting 3 credits. And so if your degree is 120 hours, then you're taking about 40 classes, but sometimes it's different. There's a few classes that you don't get 3 hours or 3 credits for. And so and some degrees are more than 120 hours. Some degrees are 160 hours. And so you're going to take a lot more classes. And so just realize that when you look at the classes that you have to take, that's what the hours mean. You can't, like I said, you can change your major. In fact, college students complete a certain amount of classes when they're freshmen, so their first year. So you are freshman, sophomore, junior, senior years. And your freshman year, no matter what you major in, everybody's pretty much going to take the same classes. Everyone has to take like a freshman year seminar. Everyone has to take the basic English class. Everyone has to take a basic math class and a basic science class. The good thing about this is that, let's say you decide to major in biology, and then you take your biology class and you realize, oh, I hate biology. Why would I ever major in this? You actually needed that biology credit, even if you major in music. Everyone has to take a science credit, so you're not going to lose any credits. And so it's kind of good because it gives you an idea of different things that you might like. And you may not know that you loved music until you had to take a music class. And so that's the exciting thing about in the United States, and most universities in the United States, if not all, require a certain amount of courses to be those basic classes. And so for some majors, a student must meet minimum requirements. So for example, our nursing program, the first 2 years are pre-nursing, you must have at least a 3.0 GPA to even apply to the nursing program. I know at another school I know of, to get into the upper level classes, you have to have at least a 3.5 GPA to get into the upper level business courses. And so just be aware of that. Also, if you want to major in something like pre-med, pre-dental, pre-law, anything like that, so medical school, dental school, law school, anything like that in the United States, those are all graduate level programs. And so today we're talking about undergraduate programs. So if you want to do pre-med or pre-dentistry or pre-law, then you have to do the pre-law, pre-med program. That is not your major. So your major is still going to be a bachelor's of science in biology or a bachelor's of arts in legal studies, that you want to declare to the university that you want to be in that program. So you're telling the university that you want to go to that graduate program after you're done with the university. And that tells the university to put you in with a group of students who want to pursue that graduate program after they're done, and they will help prepare you for that graduate program. So for example, when we have students who want to do pre-med, we put them into the pre-med program so they can major in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, anything. But we put them in the pre-med program so that it will prepare them for medical school. So they will have certain advisors that prepare them for medical school. So they have to take certain classes that we know that medical school will require of them. They're preparing for the MCAT test. They're getting the letters of recommendation, things like that, that they will need for medical school. But that is not a major. So if you want to be a doctor in the United States as an undergraduate, you're not going to major in pre-med or major in medical or something like that. You need to major in like biology, chemistry, biochemistry, something like that. I even had a student one time major in cinematography who wanted to go to medical school because he wanted to be the doctor that films the surgeries. And so he majored in cinematography, and then he did all of the pre-med program requirements on the side, and then went to medical school. So again, the major and the program are two different things. Now, you don't have to have a program, but you do have to have a major, at least one major. You can have a major, you can have two majors, you can double major, or you can have a major and a minor, which means that you're taking some classes in another area of study. So you can major in business and minor in psychology, something like that. Next slide, please. I can't really see if there's any questions, so I don't know how to tell that, but let me know if there's questions along the way. I'm happy to help. Also, welcome to the Facebook crowd. I don't know who's out there on Facebook, but if there's anybody that has questions, I'm happy to give my email address at the end, and y'all can email me with any questions as well. Okay, so also you want to think about, like, what am I good at? So what are your best subjects in school? There's lots of aptitude tests out there. Talk to your high school counselor. There's a Cambridge aptitude test that you can take that would tell you, like, you would be really good in math, or you would be really good in logistics, or you would be really good in education, something like that. So take an aptitude test. Complete a personality test. There's two personality tests out there. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Enneagram, but it gives you a number between 1 and 9, and it kind of explains, like, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, this is how you interact with people. And that helps you figure out, okay, maybe I would be good at this major. Like, I wish that I had done it. I probably would have gone to law school because I'm an Enneagram 1 and we really like rules, which is why I'm good at immigration. And if I had known that when I was in college, I probably would have gone to law school because law is about applying the rules, right? But I never took a personality test. So I really wish I would have done something like that. So talk to the people in the profession that you want to pursue. So find somebody, email them. So if you want to be a lawyer, Find a lawyer in the area if you want to do tax law. Find somebody who's a tax lawyer and email them, whether it's in Mexico or in the United States, wherever, and find out more about them. See if they'll set up a Zoom call with you and chat with you, or meet with you. Research the jobs in the area that you want to do. So make sure that this is something that is sustainable for you and meets your goals, like how much money you want to make, what kind of lifestyle that you want to have. Reach out to the professor. So this is really important too. So there are professors on campus in the area that you want to study. So if you want to find out more about that area, reach out to those professors, send them an email and say, hey, and ask them specific questions. Don't just say, tell me more about this major, because you can look that up on the internet. But maybe say, can you tell me what jobs the students in this major end up working in? Or what are you looking for in your students? Or what areas of research do your students do? Different things like that. Or what are the best classes to take in that area? Very specific questions, but don't just say, like, what, tell me about the major, because then the professor is going to be like, what? I don't know. But start developing the relationships with those professors, because those are the professors who are going to be teaching you once you're at the university. Also, realize there's a difference between a STEM major and a non-STEM major. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And the reason that that's important is STEM is really, really important in the United States, because the United States really wants more people in STEM. And so if you are a STEM major and you're an international student, once you graduate, you can apply for 1 year of optional practical training, OPT, but then you could also possibly apply for a 2-year extension and end up with 3 years of work experience after your graduation. And so if you're thinking about a major, so I had a student today who had originally applied as an accounting student. And then he was like, but you know what, I really think I want to major in cyber engineering. Yeah. And he was like, I think I really want to switch. And once I told him about the STEM extension, then he was like, oh yes, please, I want to switch my major because accounting doesn't have the STEM extension. And so then he switched his major right away. So just think about that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, plan your future resume. I wish every student could hear this. So you need to start developing your leadership skills now, volunteering and thinking about internships. So let's delve into that a little bit more. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do you live for the future? So you are thinking about getting admitted to a university, and Jorge did an amazing job explaining like how to get admitted to a university. That was a great presentation, but that is just the beginning. You need to be thinking about, okay, once I get admitted, what am I going to do after that? So you, as an international student, you have a lot of challenges, which is great because that's going to build resilience in you. My international students are just amazing, but you need to be thinking about long-term decisions. And so here's some advice that I have for you. Get involved on campus right away. So the students that I see that get involved from the very beginning are the ones who thrive on campus. So get involved in the International Student Organization. There's like the Red Cross, the Greek societies. There's lots of different things that you can get involved in, something that will fit you. You need to get involved and build your community. Number one, they will help you thrive on campus. And number two, they will help you develop those needed skills. And number three, you will develop the relationships that you need later on campus. So what organizations do you want to develop? So if you're wanting to be a teacher, get involved in the bilingual education organization. That's one of our organizations on campus. And so there's an organization for bilingual people who want to be a bilingual teacher. And so the people get involved in that. If you want to go to medical school, get involved in the research organization. It's called Tri Beta, and they do like research on pond scum, which I think is disgusting, but whatever, they love it, right? So that's developing the skills that they need. Get to know the faculty and staff, build those relationships. Don't just be a fly on the wall like, oh, my English is not that good. your English is not going to improve if you don't start talking to people. And I'm saying that to myself because sometimes I don't practice my Spanish because I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong thing, but you just have to get out there and do it. So I have a student worker who is from El Salvador. And at first she was super shy, but we made her like really practice her Spanish, her English, and it has just blossomed and she's doing amazing. So you really just have to force yourself to get out of your shell and get involved and develop those leadership skills. So eventually you're going to need letters of recommendation for a job, for graduate school, for scholarships. I have people who ask me for letters of recommendation all the time for scholarships. The students who are involved are the ones that I can write really good letters of recommendation for. The students who are not that involved, I'm like, well, they have a good grade. I don't know. And then the students who are involved, I'm like, yeah, they participated in the International Week and they are involved in the International Student Organization and they're involved in Red Cross organization. They volunteer for this. I can speak a lot more about those students because I know them. So get a job on campus. That's another thing that you can do. So F1 international students can legally work on campus up to 20 hours a week during major semesters. So get a job on campus. Like that way you can start developing those skills. There's ways to volunteer legally. So in a position where you could normally volunteer, anybody else is volunteering, whether that's at church or at a hospital or with kids organizations or something like that, then you can volunteer. That's all building your resume and you're going to need that later on. So start soon. Don't wait till the very end. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so internships. Does your major offer an internship? This is a really great way for you to get practical experience. And that's curricular practical training, which I'll chat about in a minute, and then plan early. So let's chat a little bit about that. Okay. Okay, so I think I missed a little bit of a slide. Let me back up a little bit about so the internship. So you can do an internship in the United States if your major requires it. And so if your degree plan offers an internship, you can get practical work experience in the United States as long as you get curricular practical training CPT authorization on your I-20, which is that immigration document that you get. And so go talk to your immigration advisor, talk to your academic advisor. Is this offered on my degree plan? Because what happens is sometimes it'll say you can do an internship or you can do this other class. And students don't realize, oh, I already took that other class. Well, then they can't do the internship. And so they need to plan early. Oh, yes, I'm planning on doing this internship my senior year. So don't take this class. So just make sure, oh yes, plan early, talk to your academic advisor and say, I plan on doing an internship. Let's save this class so that I can do the internship. I can do CPT the summer between my junior year and my senior year or something like that. And so that will give you really practical experience that you can put on your resume, make you a lot more hireable. So plan early and talk to your academic advisor about that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so understanding your immigration options. This is really important, especially for Mexican citizens, because you want to think about your long-term immigration options. Okay, so next slide, please. I think there's another one. Yes, okay. So you are welcome to come to the United States, get your bachelor's degree, get your degree, and then go home. If I was your mom, that's probably what I would want you to do. I can't imagine my son being away for a super long time. I would be like, please come home to me. But you never know what's going to happen in 4 years. And so you want to make sure that you have options for different things that you want to do. And so once you graduate as an F1 international student, you can apply for something called optional practical training. It's 1 year of work authorization in the United States. If you are a STEM major, as I said before, you could apply for a 2-year extension. So that would be 3 total years of optional practical training, OPT. That means that you could work in an area that was directly related to your degree for up to 3 years if you were a STEM major or the 1 year. Okay, so there's specific requirements like you have to work for an E-Verify employer if you're a STEM major. You have to work in something that's directly related to your degree, et cetera. Now, most of my students, these are pretty easy requirements to fulfill. But the point is to make sure that you're thinking ahead and how am I going to get the job. A lot of my students, like while they're working on OPT, are also working for an employer, and then that employer is looking at how do I keep this person long-term. So after you're done, then you could apply to graduate school, which is what a lot of students do. So that's absolutely something you can do as an F1 international student. Or the employer could also apply for an H-1B visa for you, which is an employment visa. There's a limited amount of H-1Bs available in the United States. Most of the people who apply for an H-1B are within a lottery system. And that lottery system happens April, like the end of March every year. And so that H-1B, about 1/3 of the people who apply every year get picked for that system. And so the H-1B is a little bit difficult to get. The Mexican citizens have another option. If they are working in a certain job, they can apply for a TN visa, which actually a lot of my students have done. And that's a great visa option for them. And so you have lots of different options for after you graduate. So you kind of need to think ahead of what you want to do and what your future is. So if you just want to go and get a degree and then go back home, then you're great. You don't have to worry about anything. But if you want to keep your options open, these are some different things that you need to be thinking about. Next slide, please. Okay, so I just wanted to mention some hot markets that I see my international students getting hired in. A lot of international students get hired in accounting. So if you can handle, I'm so sorry, accounting is like the most boring thing ever, y'all. I could not stay awake in my accounting class, but some people really, really, really love it. And I'm so thankful for them. And I have accounting students who do amazing and they get jobs like before they graduate. And so if you can handle accounting, like you can get hired super fast. So that's a great degree. It's not a STEM degree though, but my students get hired so fast. So accounting is incredible. Engineering. So if you can major in engineering, that's a STEM degree. That's great. You can get lots of internships. Accounting also has good internships. And so that's also a great option. My students get hired super fast in engineering. Nursing is also a very, very hot market in the United States. If you want to be a nurse, here's the deal with nursing though. It's like one of the hardest majors. You also have to pass the licensing exam, which is very difficult. So just realize if you want to major in nursing, you're probably gonna like study harder than you can possibly imagine that you could ever possibly study, and just realize like it's incredibly, incredibly hard, but it's super rewarding. Like I have one of my nursing majors who's now at Bentab Hospital, which is one of the toughest hospitals in Houston. And she is working with homeless COVID patients. And she loves it. Like she's totally called to that and she's doing an amazing job and she loves it. And thank God for people like her, right? So if you're called to nursing, please do that because we have a huge nursing shortage. Education. I'm telling you right now that you speak Spanish, you can speak Spanish and English, and you want to major in education and you love kids, you can get a job so fast here in Texas because they're desperate for bilingual teachers. Like my daughter goes to school in Spanish and they have such a hard time finding teachers for her program because they just can't keep teachers and they're hiring them on H-1Bs. So if you are interested in education, please come to Texas and come study and get your degree because we desperately, desperately need good teachers. That's super, super hot market right now. Computer science is a great program. We're getting lots of people having internships and graduating in computer science. Also research. So a lot of my students will major in biology and then they will graduate and then they will go work at the institutions that are in Houston. So Texas, the largest medical center in the world is the Texas Medical Center, and the students will go and do research. So if you are cool with like rats or tiny little cells or anything like that, and you want to do research, that's a super, super hot market right now. I used to work at Baylor College of Medicine, and a lot of my students will go work there, and then they will go do the OPT, and then the super smart ones will also end up doing their PhDs at these research institutions like UTMB, Baylor, Texas Women's, MD Anderson, things like that. So if that interests you, please come do it because we really need help. I mean, these people are doing research on Alzheimer's, cancer, COVID. all kinds of crazy stuff that I can't even imagine. Super, super smart kids from all over the world doing this amazing research. So if that interests you, please, please, please come do this. So those are the hot markets that I know of. I'm sure that there's lots more, but those are the ones that I was thinking of. So I tried to talk really fast because it's 6 o'clock. That's my information. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer it. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And so I have lots and lots of experience working with international students. And even if you don't want to come to HBU, I'm happy to help you because I really have a passion for helping international students. I was once an international student myself. I studied at ENAT in Tunis, in Tunisia, and I really know how it feels to be an international student. And so I'm passionate about helping international students, and I don't want you to feel alone. And so if you have questions, I'm happy to help you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Shannon. And what a great success story, this girl that works with homeless COVID patients. I mean, that is awesome. And guys, I mean, you heard from Shannon, they need people from Mexico, bilingual teachers and all that. So there you go. That's another option if you didn't consider that before. So yeah, so this is Shannon information, contact information. Remember, she is from Houston Baptist University. Of course, she's in Texas. So yeah, so next slide. Yeah, we are almost running out of time. So just a quick review of what is next. Next one, please. Okay, we Education USA are here to help you. So what is next? Well, talk with your family, talk with your parents regarding your interests, regarding your goals. You can now schedule a one-on-one meeting with, in the case that you live in Guerrero, Veracruz, or Oaxaca, well, you can schedule one meeting with me. If not, still, you can shoot me an email and then I can direct you with your nearest advising center, okay? And be ready for your appointment, have your questions, have your notes ready, and yeah, and keep us posted. And with this is I think this is the last slide. I don't know if, yeah, we have another one with the contact the Education USA contact information, but now I will have I would like to take, let's say, 5 more minutes of your time, just 5 more minutes, because I know we have a lot of questions. So I will open up the floor for Alejandro. I think we have questions, right, Alejandro?
Hi, Jorge. Yes, we are. Now, hi, Shannon. Thanks. First, I need to say thanks, Jorge and Shannon, and all the Education USA advisors that are connected with us in these informative sessions. Now, Shannon, the first question that we have is, for how long should I be involved in or practice extracurricular activities in order to be valid?
Yeah, so if you're considering extracurricular activities like before you apply to a university, you should start now. So that will help you get into a university, because universities, as we're test optional now, right? So we don't require an SAT or an ACT score at this time. Most universities aren't. So we're looking at the whole student. And so because of that, if you want to get admitted or get a better scholarship, you want to be involved in more things. So if you want to be involved in volunteering, sports, a job, anything like that, you want to start the extracurricular activities now. What I was talking about is getting involved in extracurricular activities once you're in the university. Because I see a lot of students just go and like fade into the background and just study all the time, which sometimes you have to do, right? Like studies are your #1 priority. You have to make good grades. You can't just goof off the whole time and be with your friends. But you also have to be involved in different organizations. And so you have to pick wisely, like what organizations are going to benefit me the most in the future. So that's why I mentioned like the Tri Beta organization, which is the organization that does like research. They're all pre-med students, right? And so they're all like excited about pond scum and like researching bacteria. Or there's like the Future Entrepreneurs organization, where they like do competitions for business, or the engineering organization that builds robotics, right? So pick the organization that's going to help you build your future. And definitely pick the international student organization wherever you go.
Perfect, Shannon. Thanks. The next question is, can I work while studying at the United States?
That's a fantastic question. So international students on an F1 student visa can work on campus up to 20 hours per week. And so it's great to find a job on campus. A lot of our international students will work at the gym or the library or at the IT help desk or in our office. We have a lot of international students who work for us, which is a lot of fun. And so you can work on campus. The only way that you can work off campus is if you get an internship and then you have the authorization on your I-20 that will allow you to work off campus as part of curricular practical training. That's why you need to talk to your academic advisor early and make that plan as the internship, make it part of your degree plan if it's possible. Some degree plans, that's not possible. So you need to talk to your academic advisor about that. That's the only way that you can do that. And then of course, after you graduate, you can apply for the 1-year work authorization for optional practical training.
Thanks, Shannon. And the last question is, can I transfer to United States University from a university outside of the United States?
That's a fantastic question. So yes, you can transfer to a US university from your university in Mexico. We require at HBU something called a foreign transcript evaluation because we want to give you credit for the courses that you've already taken in Mexico and give you as much credit towards your degree here in the United States as possible so you don't have to retake classes. The issue that I see sometimes is that because in the United States, we require like for you to take an English and a history and an art and things like that, then sometimes universities outside the United States don't require that. And so students will have to go back and take some of those classes outside of their major. Or the major will require you to take like this class and then this class and then this class and then this class. And sometimes if you're transferring in, you're not quite in that step. And so then that might mix you up a little bit, but we work with students as best we can to help them transfer as much credit as possible, save you as much money and time as possible.
Perfect, nice question, nice answer. And now it's all from my side. They are all the answers and all the questions. And again, thanks, Shannon. Thanks for collaborating with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alejandro. And thank you very much, Shannon. I know you have, well, I mean, we have your information, your contact information. And remember, guys, this session will be recorded on our YouTube channel and also on Facebook. So whenever you want to take a look at it again, so just feel free to look the Education USA Mexico channel on YouTube. Okay, Shannon, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying 10 more minutes here with us today. And yeah, we will keep in touch. And remember, on Thursday, in 2 days, we will have another session for graduate students. Those students that would like to pursue higher education, either on a master's degree or on a doctorate program. So yeah, so just be aware of that session as well. And this similar session we will have in 1 month again. So yeah, so thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon. Thank you very much again, Shannon, for your willingness and for being here with us today. Have a good one.
Thank you.